Hello. The most important decision you'll ever make for your companion animals is what to feed. It only makes sense that if it says cat food on the label, that it's actually designed for cats. This is where life takes a bizarre human twist. You would assume we would feed an animal what it is designed to eat. Unfortunately, most cat foods on the market are not actually what cats would or should eat. Cats are carnivores. That fact is not debatable. A carnivore is an animal whose food and energy requirements derive solely from animal tissue or meat, whether through hunting or scavenging. Did you notice the word solely? That means that all of their food should come from meat or animal tissue. Based on the definition, you would think that if it said cat food, it would be what a carnivore is designed to eat. But unfortunately, that's not how the human industry works. Most cat foods are actually grain-based. Here's an example of Purina Cat Chow Complete. Chicken byproduct meal, the first ingredient, is anything that comes from a chicken, which includes beaks, feathers, fecal material, and believe it or not, beaks and feathers are made of protein. So when you see the protein on the label, most of it can come from that. Now, how digestible do you think that is? But that's not the worst part. The corn, wheat, rice, soy flour, all are foods that cats are not designed to eat. You might not think it's that important, as some of these foods are designed by veterinarians. Well, let me ask you this. If your zoo was feeding the giraffes and the koala bears meat, would you think that was okay? If we fed dolphins tree leaves, would that be okay? Yet for cats, it appears the only requirement is they do not die instantly or within a year. Apparently, a death by a million little cuts is okay. Let's use the example of diabetic cats. This is not something a cat should ever get, and I mean not ever. Here's the definition. Carnivores would never get diabetes because their diet, if species appropriate, is all meat. In fact, the best thing for a cat with diabetes is a meat diet with no carbohydrates. Why do so many cats get diabetes? Here's another example of a cat food that, in my opinion, should never be allowed on the market. And it uses some of my favorite words, 100% complete and balanced nutrition for adult cats. This is an example of why cats have health issues related to diet. There have been many marketing scams perpetrated on humans over the years. Remember doctors recommending cigarettes? Well, another one is feeding cats grains. How did we get to a place where people believe it is acceptable to feed a cat grains? Well, first you need to have the appearance of standards. Did you notice the AAFCO nutrient profile for cats on the last label? Then you need qualified people to accept it. This is where veterinarians come in. If they sell it, approve it, design it, it must be okay for cats, right? Well, again, I go back to doctors recommending cigarettes. If history has shown us anything, is you can always find people that can be bought. Let's look at a veterinarian food and see if it's species appropriate. My favorite is the digestive care. That must be species appropriate. After all, we're giving it to cats with digestive issues. It may be better than the first two, but it is also not species appropriate. And in our opinion, this will lead to disease. It's just a matter of time. You would not feed your children dirt and tree bark with a multivitamin and think they're getting all the nutrients they need. Our goal at Tailblazers is to always feed species appropriate foods. So let us look at what a farm cat would eat. Mostly mice and birds and a few bugs. While we have yet to find a food of mostly mice and birds, we have found some options that are mostly, if not all, meat. As you can see, we have many species-appropriate options for cats. Our focus is on the health of your cat, and that starts with good nutrition. Visit any of our stores and find out what a cat really wants to eat.